大家好，我今年36。
Hello everyone, I'm 36 years old, unmarried and childless. Well, at this age, if I had married early, I might even be a grandmother by now. But here I am, still single. Some might say it's because I was too picky when I was younger, wanting someone rich, wanting someone handsome, even though I'm just an ordinary person myself. Honestly, I never had that mindset before, and I still don't now. I remember reading a comment from a netizen who said that they just wanted to find someone who genuinely liked them and treated them with sincerity, not necessarily someone with strong financial status. At the time, I thought, they really seem to get me. It's true, if a man treats me well and we get along, I'd never let him down. But sadly, it seems that person hasn't appeared yet. Age 36, while others are settled with spouses and children, I'm still single. I often hear the saying, there's a time for everything in life. Honestly, if you fall behind at a certain stage, you face pressure from all sides. At my age, I've become an overlooked candidate in the marriage market. What does the future hold? Maybe I really will end up alone for the rest of my life. Seeing friends around me get married and have kids, watching my parents grow older, I start to doubt myself. I wonder how I ended up like this. How could I still be worrying my parents at this age? When I see them sighing now and then, my heart aches. I begin to question myself, am I really that unworthy? Is there really no one who would love me? I worry that I'll grow old alone, that this loneliness will last forever.
我81年的，今年
I was born in 1981, so I'm 44 this year, unmarried and childless, with no lover and no enemies. Having reached middle age, the fiery passion for life and love I once had in my youth has faded, along with that innocent, romantic sentiment. I no longer hold on to attachments toward anyone or anything, though I remain warm toward those who are kind. As for those who drain my energy, I choose to keep my distance. I used to yearn so deeply for emotional excitement, only to realize in the end that the most exquisite scenery in life is actually inner peace and calm. Life is my own, it has nothing to do with anyone else. My heart is now tranquil and steady, and perhaps this is what happiness truly is.
为什么现在很多大龄剩女突然间
Why are so many older single women suddenly waking up to reality? I'm 33 years old, an older, unmarried single woman. Why have I suddenly become so acutely aware of how age affects one's position in the dating market at this stage of my life? Because after turning 30, I gradually started observing younger women around me, those who weren't as hyper-focused on work, obsessed with making money, or dedicated to their careers like I was. Instead, these young women understood early on, in their 20s, how to pick and compete for men. I once saw a 20-year-old girl earning a meager monthly salary of 3,000 to 4,000 RMB, yet her skincare set cost 6,000 to 7,000 RMB. I've also seen girls of the same age, with similar salaries and only a college diploma, wearing lingerie sets worth 3,000 to 4,000 RMB. And then there are those who, just a couple of years out of school with no savings, drive cars worth over 100,000 renminbi, funded by their parents' down payment, to work, hunting for high potential young men. These girls seem to have a much clearer understanding than older single women of the advantages youth holds in the dating market. When asked about this behavior, their unified answer was, when a woman dares to drive a 100,000 RMB car, use luxury skincare, or wear expensive lingerie, the men who date her will naturally be the kind who can afford to keep up with her lifestyle. It doesn't matter if your own pockets are empty, what matters is that men see you as high maintenance. If they can't afford you, they won't even approach you. The ones who do will have money *. When I first heard this concept, it blew my mind. Back then, I had no real understanding, just a vague notion, of how a woman's age positioned her in the dating market. I always believed that age was an absolute advantage when it came to securing financial stability through marriage. I also firmly believed that independence, self-sufficiency, and frugality were the foundations of a woman's ability to stand on her own in society. That was the core of one's worth. I even thought these traits gave women an edge in the dating market, that they were the better choice. But when I saw these young girls living their dreams one after another, the beliefs I held as an older single woman were repeatedly shattered. Sometimes I wonder, is independence just empty inspiration, or is gold digging and financial dependency the real deal? I can't tell which is true anymore. Why is it that the correct values society promotes, independence, integrity, end up being worthless in reality? It wasn't until I grew older, became a single woman with no one setting me up on dates, that I finally realized. Age trumps everything. In marriage, youth is the ultimate advantage. Men are brutally realistic. Sometimes, when women work too hard and become too accomplished, they leave no room for men to date down. Many men aren't actually that exceptional or capable. It's only when a woman is less successful that a man feels comfortable lowering his standards. That's when he has room to maneuver, to feel like he has options. But when a woman is his equal or surpasses him, he starts attacking her for her age. So when a woman is exceptionally successful, men see her as not just older, but also cunning, ruthless, too independent, and too strong-willed, making her a difficult woman overall. This explains why being older is one of the biggest strikes against single women. When you match or even outperform men in every way, they get intimidated. They can't handle a woman like that. That's why so many men in my comments section lately have been ranting, "Why don't you lower your standards?" But are my standards really that high? Don't you think a lot of men are just too weak? It's because they're weak that they see women as too strong. If they weren't so weak, they wouldn't feel that way in the first place.
I was born in 1981, and I'm 44 years old this year. I'm not married, I don't have children, and I don't have a partner. Now I've become a joke on social media. Whether I post short videos sharing my thoughts or go live, most of the comments I see are people mocking me. But honestly, I want to say, from the moment I became enlightened, none of it mattered to me anymore. If I really cared about how you see me, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be on social media. I share my thoughts purely to ignite my own life. Whose pot doesn't have some grime at the bottom? Whose life is truly perfect? At least I'm choosing to be myself, at least that. I am real.
A few days ago, I experienced a rather significant blow, one that somehow reset my worldview. I went to Shanghai's famous matchmaking corner, the People's Park in People's Square. There were two reasons I wanted to go. First, out of genuine curiosity. After all, the scene of hundreds of people gathered for matchmaking seemed incredibly intriguing. Second, I do genuinely want to settle down and find someone to marry. Let's be honest, the life of a lone wanderer isn't all that great. At least, I don't think it is. But why do I say it reset my worldview? There are two reasons for that, too. First, I used to truly believe that love conquers all. But the reality of the matchmaking market is brutally straightforward, especially when it comes to regional biases. While I understand it logically, facing it in person was still disheartening. But the more important second point is this: if you're just curious and want to check it out for fun, fine. But if you're actually looking for a partner, forget it. Because you won't see any young people searching for love there. It's mostly elderly parents holding their children's profiles, exchanging information with other elderly parents. It feels more like the younger generation doesn't want to get married, while the older generation is desperately trying to make it happen on their behalf. This kind of parent-mediated matchmaking? I'm not optimistic about its success. It just goes to show how severely divided the values of the two generations have become. But here's the question. If even People's Park is like this, where am I supposed to go for reliable matchmaking? It is said that the number of single women over 30 in Beijing has already exceeded 1 million. So, do you know where the largest matchmaking crowds in Beijing are? If you're looking to get out of singlehood, be sure to remember these 5 places. First, Zhongshan Park is practically lined with makeshift matchmaking stalls one after another. Here, not having a car, house, or Beijing residency makes you a triple none individual. This spot has more women than men looking for partners. Matchmaking activities take place every Thursday and Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Second, the 7-Star Stones in Tiantan, Temple of Heaven Park, has around 2,000 matchmaking resumes on display. The event happens every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Third, Tao Ranting Park is the go-to place for parents from the southern part of the city seeking partners for their children. Fourth, Hadian Park may be small in scale, but it's filled with highly educated singles. Fifth, Yuyuantan Park hosts matchmaking sessions every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you're hoping to find love, you might want to check out these spots. Your perfect match could be waiting there.
我发现一个人长期不社交啊，
I've noticed that if a person doesn't socialize for a long time, their language skills really can deteriorate. I've been traveling alone in an RV for about 5 years now. During these 5 years, I've hardly had any friends. I live by myself with just a little dog for company. When I'm out driving and exploring in my RV, I don't really make an effort to meet new people or befriend strangers. I mostly keep to myself. Unless someone approaches me first and strikes up a conversation, I usually don't say much. Now, I feel like I struggle to accurately express the thoughts in my head, and it seems like my language ability is declining. Also, I feel like I've completely lost the ability to socialize and chat with people. Good morning. I guess most of you just woke up when you came across this video. As for me, I've been working all night and still haven't slept. People often say they envy me for working from home, but honestly, there's nothing to envy. The pay is low, so I can't save much. Plus, the long-term lack of social interaction makes me feel useless sometimes, like I've lost interest in everything. I've been in Guangzhou for 5 years and still don't have any friends. My social anxiety just keeps getting worse. Don't ask me why I don't have a boyfriend. If I never go out, how would I meet anyone, men or even women? Sometimes on my days off, I think about going outside. But once I'm out, I have no idea where to go. In the end, I just buy a milk tea and some snacks, then head back home to play games. Strangers probably assume I'm some popular flirt who has no shortage of suitors, but the reality is I'm just a loner who stays in my rented apartment every day without even a single friend. But whatever. No matter how beautiful a relationship seems at the beginning, the ending is always the same anyway.
说一个扎心的事实啊，
Here's a hard truth. Many girls claim they'll grow old alone, unmarried and childless, living out the rest of their lives freely and independently. In their daily lives, they're indeed self-reliant, decisive at work, enjoying singlehood, and seemingly indifferent toward marriage and parenthood. To outsiders, it might seem like life has hardened them, or perhaps they've become completely disillusioned with love, leading them to make such a choice. But in reality, they just haven't met the one who makes their heart flutter, the one who'd make them reconsider. Love has a way of catching you off guard. When the right person appears in your life, your heart ignites like a firework. All those past declarations, I'll never marry, I don't want kids, I'll be alone forever, suddenly waver. Even just a fleeting thought is enough to shatter your previous resolve. Without even realizing it, you'll start imagining a future with them. You'll picture cozy nights curled up on the couch watching TV, cooking together in the kitchen, grocery shopping after work, or even, yes, raising a child together. Those once distant, even repulsive scenarios suddenly become your heart's softest, most tender hopes. So don't be too quick to assume that girls who insist they'll stay single forever are truly unshakable in their resolve. They're just waiting for the one who'll make them willingly step into marriage and embrace a whole new chapter of life. Right?
我好像突然发现了什么。
It seems I've suddenly realized what loneliness truly looks like in its most tangible form. True loneliness isn't about having no friends around or no one to talk to. It's not like that at all. It's when there's no one left who can truly share your joys and sorrows, no one who truly gets you, how deeply you hurt, how intensely you rejoice, no one who resonates with you on the same frequency. As I grow older, the number of people who resonate with me grows fewer and fewer. One day you'll finally realize, whether it's a video you watch or a piece of powerfully moving text, you'll feel profoundly shaken by it. But the moment you want to share it, you suddenly realize that the person you once told everything to, the one you could share anything with, is no longer there. They can no longer grasp what moves you. You've become strangers. Maybe this is just how life is. Everyone can only walk a part of the journey with you, accompany you for a stretch. In the end, you have to walk the rest of this life alone. They were all there to help you grow, but only you will always be with yourself. No one can walk beside you forever. So when, like me, you read something moving and want to forward it to someone, only to realize there's no one left to send it to, that's when your life unlocks a new chapter, self-growth.